This podcast episode is for the business owners that have stumbled right before they were supposed to give that big sales pitch. Or, it might be the business owner got invited to do a public speaking event and kind of tripped up a little bit. Well, it's also for the business owner that is out there and they did good, but they missed great. Okay, so this episode's a little different than most. We're getting into the psychology of communication. Specifically, we're going to be talking about overcoming stage fright or any kind of conversation. See, as business owners, there's this thinking out there that every single person is an extrovert and we just get energy from talking with everyone all day. And yeah, we have software founders out there, CTOs that just want to sit in the background. There's nothing wrong with that. So the guest on this podcast, her name is Janice Dean. She's the author of a book called 10 Secrets to Overcoming Stage Fright, brought to you by the most persnickety angel in heaven. I know. What a title. What's strange about this episode is she's going to be sharing some techniques, some things that you can practice right away in your business. It sounds really easy, unconventional, but you know what? It works. I've tried it. I've seen it. And it's something that you could apply in your business today. And it's going to work for your employees, for the new prospects that you have, for the clients. And if you do it, you're going to see a return on that investment. Here's the cost. It's free. So let's jump into the episode with Janice, get into the conversation, and you can hear how you can improve the communication in your business and with others around you. Janice, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you, Spencer. I'm just delighted to be here with you today and to serve your guests in any way I can.
Well, I think there's a lot of ways that you can serve our guests. I mean, you have so much talent, but the reason why you're on is because you're an absolute master at what you do. And our listeners have an idea of what it is that you're an expert at. But if you can give us a snapshot real quick of what that is, and then we're going to launch out from there.
That's great. This book, first of all, is not how to speak. I focus solely on the fear that hits like a giant wave and smashes you to the ocean floor. That's how you feel. So if that opening moment with your audience is not happening, you will run like crazy up a down escalator to try to get back to where you tried to be. And you're lucky if you get there halfway through, but you've already lost your audience. So those first seconds on stage are everything. They set the tone, and we must be past the fear. So that's what I focused on in this book, although I do lots of other things, and it hits everybody. Everybody.
So let's talk about fear and what that is and why people get it. And then we're going to get into the resolution.
Fear comes up for everybody and it affects us in different ways. It could be the inner critic beating us up, and everybody has it. And we have to learn how to effectively deal with it and take it as, oh, this is an adventure. And so either you haven't learned the techniques yet to ride the bicycle, because everybody's afraid to ride the bike when you first ride it, and you learn techniques, and after that it's easy. And it is easy with these techniques, and you can get past it, and you must get past it. And I'll talk about one of the misconceptions we have about why most people think, well, I don't need to get past it. I'll just never speak.
Well,
and we have all kinds of fears. I mean, I still to this day am afraid to death of cockroaches. And I have to use some of my techniques to get over it.
we probably won't get in. There's probably some deep stories there, but what we'll say is this, for this to be a podcast about business growth and for business owners who are primarily listening, they at times, and I've seen, listener emails, they think that they can sit behind the computer and never have to talk with customers, or if they have a software company or whatever it may be. But really what we're discussing today is essential for any type of business owner.
You have that absolutely correct. And that is the number one misconception, that I'm not built to speak. I'm a techie, I'm a stay-at-home spouse, I have nothing important to say. And that is quite wrong, because actually it's non-negotiable. We all must communicate to our family, to our coworkers, to our friends, to strangers even. Everybody's waiting for, it could be one word that you say, it could be a sentence, it could be a speech. But think of Helen Keller. She couldn't hear, so she didn't know how to speak. And had she not overcome that, the world would have missed her communication of great inspiration. We all have something to say. It's non-negotiable. So that's why it is my absolute fervent passion to get everybody past it, whether you're an ice skater, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a gymnast, whether you're an opera singer, whether you're a speaker, whether you're talking to your spouse. We just have to get over it. And so what happened was, I had a lawyer take an acting class years ago, and he went to sign up, and then he stayed and he stayed and he stayed. And I said, is there something else you wanted to know? And he said, he bowed his head down. He wouldn't look in my eyes. And he said, I've always been afraid to speak in front of people. And I was in shock, because I had missed that period of being afraid of speaking. And I thought, but you're a lawyer. And then I said, oh, you must be an investigatory lawyer. And then he said, even in law school, when the teacher asked something, I put my head down because I was petrified to speak. And I thought, I'm going to solve this, and it's not going to happen to people anymore. And so I put together a program, and I've been using it for decades, and it always works. Some people want to throw up before they meet their boss. Some people can't think, they lose control of everything. Some people are as stiff as a board. It hits everybody differently, and there are ways to get over it. And you must, to succeed in life, in every way, to succeed, to communicate. People want to hear what you have to say, honestly. They do.
We're going to pull some of those principles out. First, is it, I see a lot of challenges that people in business get, and arguably, we're a mixed bunch, and, what may challenge me might not be to someone else.
That's right.
And, we can have some empathy or sympathy for it. And then there's also a layer of it, of saying, this is something larger that we make up in our minds. For example, I was in a meeting about 2 weeks ago, and it was a group of other business owners. And just due to the nature of our business, we work with a lot of celebrities. And another business owner said, well, how are you communicating with them? And I said, I honestly don't give a rip, because they're humans like us. In fact, their egos are so big, they're more focused on themselves. And so let's, look at the psychology of that. But then I want to get into the principles that you teach and start to apply those principles, so that by the end of this recording, someone walks away with at least one thing that will help them become a better communicator.
There's one thing that actors learn when they're a beginning actor, and because what if I have to play royalty, right? Oh, how does royalty act? And so they start behaving in obnoxious ways. And my teacher, Uta Hagen, said, listen, you don't think these people go to the bathroom and eat just like you do? And so, you get over it. We're all people. And there was a minister who spoke and said, all of us are wrong 50% of the time. All of us. We all make mistakes. No one's going to get out of life perfect. So it's honestly, here's the deal, Spencer. Nobody cares how you look. Nobody cares how you speak. Nobody cares how you dress. All they want to know is, can you help them? And are you committed to help them? That's it. There are people who survived fires. There was a speaker whose whole body was disfigured, including his face. and he inspired millions of people. There is a man right now from Australia. He has no arms and legs, and he goes across the world inspiring people. There is a woman who dove off a cliff. She was a great swimmer, but she broke her neck and she couldn't move her body from the age of 18. And she has continued to inspire. Please, please, let us not be selfish. The secret is very simple. Stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about how can you serve. What is it that they need from you, and deliver it.
That actually flips the script. So what you've done is you've pulled away the illusion that people actually care about what you look like or other things like that.
No. They may in the first few seconds, but after, there was a lady who had elephantitis. This is a true story. And she was a beautiful young woman. She had children, and she became more and more disfigured. One of the girls invited her friends over, and they were aghast looking at the mother. And within a few moments, the mother was so sweet and so kind and so generous and so giving and so funny that the girls forgot how she looked. It's your heart that matters. It's what you have to give that matters.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So how is it that we can, one, hopefully we've helped listeners realize that this is a shortcut. Like, don't worry about this part anymore. So now let's focus on ramping on the conversation, hooking someone's attention, becoming likable. That's where the real meat is. Is that right?
It's so easy.
Let's hear it.
When you enter the room, you don't think about who you're going to become. You don't assume a clever persona. You're not cocky. You're not acting like a brilliant stage actress. You're not acting shy, which, by the way, is also a persona, because then it's like, whatever happens, if I fail, it doesn't matter because I'm just a mess up. What you do instead is focus on them. But the secret is, how do you do that? Isn't it? And so they say, well, just smile. No, that's not it, because then you look ridiculous. So what's the secret? The secret is sending them silent compliments. And they fall in love with you, and they don't know why. Because you are paying them respect. You are seeing their beauty, their greatness, their magnificence. And then you know what, Spencer? When you focus on them, you become your true self.
So as you do that, help our listeners get to a place where they can quiet themselves and create the patience to do that. Because that's where fear happens.
No. We start out easy. We start out so easy. It's not a big deal. It's just techniques properly learned and practice. So here's what you do to practice. You all have to shop, right? What's your hometown place where you shop?
Well,
for clothes. For food.
Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee.
What's the store?
Publix.
Publix. Okay. So you walk into Publix. Spencer, as soon as you walk in, the first person you see, you send them silent compliments like, wow, you look so, but silent. You heard me say silent, right? Silent. And you look at someone and like, I'm looking at you and I love your joyful eyes. So I would look at you like this. And you wouldn't, you go, you don't know why, you don't know what's going on, but you respond and you don't care. You respond. And then as you're going along, you can say to somebody, can I help you reach for something? Or may I help you look for something? And then when you look at them, send them silent compliments. And everywhere you're going, rolling your cart, you're sending silent compliments. And it gets easier and easier and easier because no one cares about you. They're all worried. Are you kidding? They're worried too. They're worried they won't be liked. They won't be, they stutter. Who cares? Nobody cares. Everybody just wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be respected. Everybody wants to be seen, heard. And so you're giving them that. And nowadays, I go to the store and I can't help myself. I have to say it. And people are just stop dead. They just are in a dead stop. And they say, oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. And so you just practice it. And then when you're at the checkout, you send your silent compliments. And then, who's ever helping you out, you send your silent compliments. And here's another secret. Say you work with somebody you can't abhor, you can't bear, you can't stand. They just remind you of your Uncle Harry. And so what you do instead is you substitute the person that you loved most in life. So for me, it's my great grandmother. So I worked in academe with another professor, and I just couldn't abide him. And so I looked at him as though he were my great grandmother, and I would say, I'll use another name. Hi, John. And our relationship totally changed because he felt respected by me, that I liked him, that I cared about him. And then as he became different to me, I became different to him. It was reciprocal. Is this making sense?
It does, yeah. So it's a principle of gratitude.
No.
You think it's different than that?
It's not gratitude. It's I like you. I see you. You're wonderful to me. And maybe you don't like the person at all, but they have beautiful eyes. So you say to yourself, I love your eyes. You start wherever you can.
Okay. So this is a different approach.
I know it's way backwards in everybody. And that's why I didn't want to write a how-to book.
Uh-huh.
I had to write, it's a parable. It's a book of stories. An angel comes down to earth to help. He was a famous international maestro, Albert Snow, opera director throughout the world. And he's stuck in the mailroom in heaven. And he has to come down to earth because he's got some problems in heaven. Everything worked on earth, but it's not working in heaven. And so he comes down and helps people. And then something happens to him as well. But so it's a book of stories of how people are feeling all these different things, what their problem is, and how he helps them. And it's a different approach. It's very, very different. If you like it, great. If you don't, continue smiling at people with empty eyes.
It's so interesting because on this podcast, we have a lot of different type of guests. And when our team went through, and this is for you listeners, when our team went through, and we get requests all the time for guests, something popped out about Janice. Now, here's what's strange about it is that it was magnetic. Something happened that you communicated that wasn't even verbally said before we met. So how is it that you're persuading people even before they even meet you?
It's because all the years of I don't get this from books. I found my own way in my own living laboratory, in academe, working with corporate clients, working in my own studio, working with private people. I'm working with them. And my goal is no matter what, that they will succeed because this is my mission. I want them to succeed. That is my joy. And I know they will because thousands have. And so the thing I have, Spencer, the thing is that every one of you has. Every one of you knows how to do your thing. So if I say to you, Spencer, how do I do a podcast? You're already happy and generous hearted. And it's like, I know the way, Janice, I'm going to take you there. And I know the way to this. It's like They come to me and I go, look, this is like we're doing an adventure in the Amazon jungle. But don't you fear, because I've got machetes and I've been there and back many, many times. But it is an adventure. It will be uncomfortable. It might be a little hard, but let's go. So I know what's going to happen at the end. I'm totally confident. And I'm already seeing the end picture, which is also in the book. But I'm not going to give away the whole book. Read the book, because you got to be in the journey. Yeah, I don't want you to just hear words. I want you to live it.
This is interesting because, it is addictive, we'll say, for business owners to want to find a shortcut, to want to find the latest hack or software, principle, technique, or whatever it is that's going to help them grow their business. What you're doing...
Growing them.
Exactly. It's not just their business. It's them. And the great thing is...
Wait, Spencer.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. It's sort of like people who do a PowerPoint presentation. I say to them, well, why do you need to be there? Why don't you just fax it in? I mean, really, why do you need to be there? Because I can read.
Yeah. So this is beyond just the hack.
Right. Because the thing is, who is your business? You are. And just like Elvis Presley in the beginning, right? He went to a studio and he was singing like all these other famous people back there. And the studio technician said, hey, Elvis, bring yourself to it. I mean, this is not anything new. It's been being said forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But then how do you get to you? And my feeling is you get to you by forgetting you. But how do you do that? No, I'm not asking you to look at your navel. No, I'm asking you to look at someone else. Look into them and ask yourself, what do they want? What do they need that I can provide if I can? And whatever you do in life, a dog walker, an auto mechanic, whatever. Now, this is my skill, performing arts. This is my skill, and I've manipulated everything to create this because, and Spencer, I'm going to tell you the truth. I was so afraid that something would happen to me before the book came out that I constantly said to my assistant, if anything happens to me, please, please, please make sure the book gets out, because I want this beyond my life. Beyond my life. How many people have helped me that have been gone from this earth hundreds, thousands of years? Aristotle, Charles Dickens, they've all been my friends. They've all helped me. And I want to be that voice that cuts through and says, here, you can do it. Just practice these little things. So you're going to go to the store today?
I love it. While you're speaking, I'm looking in your eyes. I'm practicing what you're teaching. And I think that for our listeners, you can do it right away. And here's something that's great. When I said that, I looked at you, you perked up, you smiled. I guarantee that if you do the same thing to your customers, or if you're starting out, or you have a new idea, if you're doing it to your prospects, at worst, they're going to give you feedback and an idea that will lead to the next. At best, wow, you may have unlocked something new. So, final question for you. What advice can you give for our listeners before we part?
Thank you for asking. I had one, but I have another that's ever so much better. It's from a 60s Broadway musical, and it was called The Roar of Grease Paint, The Smell of the Crowd. And my favorite quote is, they were all living on the streets, and this fellow was in his bow tie and bowler hat, and he had a cigar. And he said, "The secret which few people know is to make up the rules as you go, toe-to-toe." You've got it. Cast your vision into the future. It doesn't matter where you came from, what you have, what you don't have, who your parents were, da 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 da. You survived this, your parents hated you. It doesn't matter. Cast your imagination into the future. What will you become to serve people?
I love this. This is so great. Janice, thank you for the time that we had together. This was...
Arrivederci.
Yes, this was different than most podcasts, but it's absolutely one that our listeners should listen to. I would say they're probably smiling right now. And to follow up with that smile, go inside the show notes. You'll see a link to Janice's website, to her book, and to other resources that will help you so that you can do one thing first.
May I say that the book is called 10 Secrets to Overcoming Stage Fright, brought to you by the most persnickety angel in heaven.
I love it. That's great. Thank you for spending the time with us today and delighting us with conversation.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.